glory, and honor is due to Yahweh, Bashim, Yahushai, Bashim, Kakadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that rule well. Blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect. Those in the gospel broad, lifting up the standard of Yahweh, Bashim, Yahushai, wherever it may be. It's another in transit. It's not going to be a very long one. Just meditating on some things in the spirit, just listening to a couple of brothers, man. And, brothers are pretty much wore out and tired and feel defeated at this point. Brothers are wore out, and they're just tired, it's like a waiting game at this point because, yet we're so close, but yet it seems like we still have things that's ahead of us that we have to overcome, which this whole life is about overcoming and constantly being faithful and committed into Yahweh Bashim Yahushai while the odds are really against us, man. We have a lot of things happening in the world, and the main thing now, the big talk now, is this war in the so-called Middle East, or in the East, between Russia, China, and Iran, Israel, America, Iran, Russia, China, the big main players on the board. Russia is talking about pretty much Ukraine is done, and then you got Russia that's talking about, and they're sending threats to the West, new nuclear threats to the West about how their stance on the Ukraine is. And, Russia just like, what? Enough is enough. It's going to go there. And that whole peace talk bullshit was all nothing but bullshit, because we know that Esau's nature is not of peace. So this whole thing about Trump, he mentioning that, he can stop World War III literally when he gets elected, but he ain't did nothing but intensify or escalate it more, because he was basically telling this guy Zelensky to pipe down, and that he need the aid of America, and Russia was just like, look, man, y'all continue to get involved. We're not going to back off the Ukrainians, because for the simple fact, we know that the Americans or the West are using Ukraine for nefarious purpose, which they're nothing pretty much but a proxy of America at this point, or the West. And that's the reason why Babylon wants to use them, But outside of all that, you have economic hardship. Everybody is complaining on TikTok about the new thing, the student loan debt. How about March 5th, May 5th, Salakia, that the U.S. government is going to start garnishing wages of people that owe student loans. Because remember, Biden had put the halt, or the halt on the student loans, that pretty much gave them a break, that they didn't have to repay it right away. But now, they're coming to collect. If you owe X, Y, and Z in student loan debt and you're not paying on it, they're gonna come for your money, man. So the American people were pretty much in shambles, but yet they still continue to try to thrive and go to work, and hopefully they can fix a broken system. But it's nothing fixed. You can't fix the system. It's completely broken, and you got the men of the Lord here. They're just sitting here and we waiting on the days to pass by, because it's just, at this point, it's just like a waiting game. It's like, okay, all the chips are in play, everything is lined up in order. We just waiting on a major event, like some type of attack, or ultimately the collapsing of this fucking dollar, which they seem to be dragging their hands on, man. Because the next step before the destruction is the mark of the beast, and they have all the provisions in play. Everything is already set up and to where they need, but it's just like Esau is not going forth with it, man. And maybe it's just me, maybe I'm not being patient enough, but it's at the point, like, come on with this shit, bro. Like, how much longer we got to sit here and do this every single day? These people ain't gonna do anything, because clearly they still have hope in the American nightmare, and this is what they're doing, getting up and going to work every fucking day, and it ain't profiting. Your rent is going up, your food is going up. They're talking about Walmart CEOs are one in America, in fucking not Costco, but what you call that place, Sam's Club, is basically warning them and saying, well, look, man, in 2 weeks we could see shortages, because I believe 30% of the imports from China have been depleted since last year. So with that being said, you could literally not have food on the shelves in another week or two. if Trump don't lay off this whole tariff ordeal, which they pretty much called this bluff, man. You know? So these people, they don't know what the hell is going on. They're just hoping like hell that this dude Trump could get the price of eggs down, but it ain't looking too good, man, for this place. But regardless of it, we still have to navigate through this system, get up and work every fucking day, you know, and brothers are catching all types of hell, man. You know, brothers are fucking sick in the body, you know, brothers are catching hardships, the children, everything, man. So we're just at this point, we just need deliverance, you know, because I was just meditating on it this morning. I barely can get up out of bed this morning. I'm just like, man, I don't know if I can do this shit another day. And you know, it's just the flesh talking. And when I say do this, meaning just deal with this place, man. You know, because you get to the point, sometimes you start losing hope in this shit. You know, not the truth, of course, but as far as the fight in this faith, sometimes it could play on your mind, man. You know, because, you know, it's just like how much longer we got to endure with this devil over us. It's been 600 plus years already. And this man is still in power, man. And it's even more vexing because a lot of the shit that they're doing is totally unethical and unconstitutional. But yet these stupid morons called Americans are not doing anything about it, which makes our fight even harder because basically we're waiting on them to react because this is not our kingdom, so we can't go off and do crazy shit. But as long as these people are still in this docile state of mind and they don't plan on rising up against this place, this is just what it's going to be every fucking day. That's why it tells us in the book of Habakkuk, he said, how long would you allow me, you know, to see grievousness, man? How long would you allow wickedness to be justified and there's no judgment or no remedy of this place? You see, because America has far beyond violated the respect of Yahweh Shai. Every day, there's more wickedness and more sickness and more evil going here in America. And you know, the Most High is making moves, man. But this place is already justified on being destroyed 10 times more. So we're just like, you know, any day now, let's get this shit on and popping, man. You know, let's see the economy collapse or something like that, you know, the dollar, whatever, something to get these people roused up because they're not roused up enough because you see this traffic going on, man, you know, and yet these people don't have two pots to piss in or a window to throw it out of, but yet they're going to work just to give it away to the people they complain that's oppressing them, man. You know, because you got half the country divided. Half the people still is with Trump, and the other half of the people is like, you know what, Donald Trump ain't all that bad. Let's see what he gonna do with these terrorists. But he didn't ran you smuck into the ground. You know, because what you don't understand about terrorists can cause inflation and hyperinflation if they don't have any leverage to stand on. In America, they don't have any leverage, okay, because nothing is genuinely manufactured here. So if you don't have manufacturing and everything you do is outsourced, you have no fucking leverage, man. Okay, which is a systematic blow to the economy. And if the people knew what was going on, they would be pissed off, man. But, you know, what do? Oh, well, you know, we got houses, we got jobs to maintain. I have a car note, I have insurance. But yeah, your health insurance is going up every month, every goddamn year. Like, I think we had a 5% increase in health insurance. But yet, we're double taxed. We're taxed before we get our money. We tax after we get the money. We're taxed on food. We're taxed on water. We're taxed on everything. So why the fuck am I paying for health care? You see? Because America's ran by lobbyists, man. You know? So yeah, we just got to get the hell out of here. It tells us in Daniel 7 chapter that they should wear out the saints, man. And he said, think to change times and laws and they should wear out the saints. We wore out. We beyond wore out. You know, like, I couldn't get sleep. I think I went to bed at 10 o'clock last night. And I ended up getting woken up at like 2:30, damn near 3 o'clock in the morning because some type of cruiser, some police cruiser flew down my block, loud as all hell. I mean, it totally woke up the neighborhood because I believe it must have been some high-speed chase or some fucking YN out there who they were looking for. And that shit disrupted my sleep pattern. So I wasn't able to get back to sleep till 6 o'clock this morning. I had to be up at 7. So just, you know, it's constant harassment, man. And then the minute you try to get sleep, you know, you got spirits that's trying to plague you. You know, it felt like shit was crawling on me, man. I was just like, goddamn, you know, Jay can't win. But it's all part of the battle, you know, because the scriptures say that, what is it in, man, this dude, what the fuck is this guy doing, man? Hold on. God damn. You know, I get it, but goddamn, like, you ain't got no traffic in front of you. Get the fuck out my way. You know, just holding up traffic at this point. You know, just like dumb shit like that. It's just like it's always a fucking nuisance, man. You know, but the scriptures tells us that the suffering that we go through is it tells us that what we go through is not to be compared to the glory we getting ready to get in the kingdom. So all this little suffering, this little irritating and just little foul shit that we're going through as people, it's gonna get better, man. You know, because overall, you know, things are looking up and up for the men of the Lord, and the Lord has been taking care of his men. So, you know, on the flip side, things are picking up, but you got those days that you just like, man, I don't want to do this shit no more. You know, because it'd be nothing but a bunch of attacks non-stop. You know, and when you go into that word war out, it goes into being harassed, man. And we are being harassed, you know, constantly harassed, little irritants in the spirit, you know, little aggravants, whether it be people coming up against us, or whether it just be Esau indirectly afflicting you, or just Satan messing with you, man. You know, messing with your mind, because that's what he do, you see. But anyway, look like I made it to my destination, brothers, man. So this wasn't going to be a long lesson, so Salakia. But I want to give all praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahawashi, Ba'ashim Rakakwadash. I want to give double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone and Rule Well. Peace and blessings and salutations to the whole select. Lord's will, you are edified. Until the next lesson. Shalom.